I just want to respond to Steven Greer's Disclosure project seminar and his comments on dimensional beings. I'd actually like to support his view on what he tells us about terrestrial beings, that they are transdimensional and that they travel beyond the speed of light. And he also states that they navigate through these different dimensions by using conscious thought. I really sincerely believe that this is an area that we need to investigate further and for more people to open up to, but they require understanding. Now, Stephen has introduced the topic, but obviously didn't have time to really go into detail. So I'd like to kind of like expand that just to help you understand what a transdimensional being is, how do they move beyond the speed of light, and how does this conscious thought work to navigate through these dimensional portals. Now, the first thing that we can look at is that a transdimensional being can be both extraterrestrial, but not all transdimensional beings are extraterrestrial. We do have so many different levels of reality out there and so many different beings that do exist in these realms. And we know, for example, that if you go into the lowest realm of the astral, you are going to meet what we would call some lower vibration entities such as demonics and lower astral beings. But the further up we go through these dimensional realities, the more advanced and evolved the beings are, and it is all determined by their frequency. Now, when we look at our reality, we are pretty much in the paradigm of 3D reality because of where our vibration is at. Our vibration is like our signature frequency determined by our soul, as our people call it, the aura. Now you understand that when you work on your aura, when you work on your soul, when you change that frequency by consciously evolving it, you are able to raise your frequency, moving it beyond the normal space-time continuum of the 3D world, and it allows you to start to actively interface with these dimensional realities. Now, faster than the speed of light. Now, try to conceptualize that for the laypersons. What does that mean? It moves very quickly. I mean, do these energies just shoot through like lightning? I don't think he's trying to talk about that per se. What he's trying to say is that the more refined your energy is, that it operates beyond the speed of light. It operates under different principles. So we're not confined to working at a frequency that is purely physical or confined to the physical. So we are moving at a frequency that is of a different resonance or signature vibration that allows you to open up to these different dimensions. Does that make sense?
How do you do it?
How do we do it? Good question. The best way of doing it is to think of yourself almost like a TV station, like Foxtel, for example, and you've paid for specific channels and you haven't paid for other channels. Now, the channels that you've paid for allows you access to different stations, different programs, but the channels that you haven't paid for, you just get static. Yeah? My energies, if I don't work on it consciously through meditation, some people may take certain substances like the shamans to get them there, other people use just psychic exercises. What we're doing is almost paying to have all those stations on your Foxtel working so you can then access that. You are normally stopped from accessing that because you haven't paid your dues energetically, so to speak. So if this station is not open to you, it's not that it can't be open to you, it's you just don't know how to change your frequency to lock into that frequency, and then that channel opens to you.
So did you say we have to meditate to do it?
You can meditate, that's one of the best methods. And I think Stephen's even mentioned that in his speeches, that, you know, to communicate, they do a lot of remote viewing, and to be able to remote view, basically you're astral projecting your energies forward, you're consciously moving your awareness out of your physical self, and you tap into the conscious thoughts of other beings. It's what a lot of psychics normally do when they tap into your aura. They can be sitting here, touching you over there, and they can read off your energies. They can be in separate rooms, in separate states. For example, when I do a telephone reading, I could be here and I could be doing a reading for someone in Tasmania. Now, I'm splitting my consciousness between here and there, and it's easy to do. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to be able to do that. Now, the same scenario works that if I'm here and I want to communicate with spirit guides in the astral or with an extraterrestrial in another realm, the same way as I can tune into someone in Tasmania and psychically predict what's been happening for them, what is happening to them, and be accurate, I can do that for an interdimensional being. And the only thing that's different is frequencies. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how do you know that's what you're tapping into and it's not something else?
Okay, well, if I'm able to read for someone in Tasmania and I get validated that what I'm saying is quite accurate, then if that channel's working there, I have to trust that what I'm doing there it's valid. But also, a lot of the information I get from talking to these beings in my own way and through my own experience, therefore it's my truth, and some people may debate that. But what I'm trying to say is that my experience is that whenever I do interface, change my vibration, either actively astro project or remote view these realms, or interface just through the dimensional chakras on the outer aspect of my aura, where I don't even have to leave the room and I'm tapping into that realm, is that I ask for validation. So if they communicate with me and give me some information, it has to be somehow validated in the physical to make sure that I'm not just fallen victim to my imagination.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So dimensional chakras, you
Yes.
have to, they're different to normal chakras.
They are what keeps us locked into this realm. So they keep the past, the present and future, or our perception of these spaces in a certain reality, so to speak. And when you change those filtering systems of the dimensional chakras, the transpersonal, or even the earth star, what you're doing is you're expanding your bandwidth, your psychic bandwidth, your energetic bandwidth, and you're coming out of one medium and allowed to, say, go into the past, because the past will actively exist. You can jump into the future because that actively exists, but you can also move into different dimensions. Now, these beings that he talks about, these extraterrestrials that they've been making contact with, he and his friends and all those people that support his movement are remote viewing. So they are having a conscious interface with beings that can project here or even bring vehicles here. And he mentions that they do have this technology to be transdimensional because they operate with their conscious thought. And it's very simple in concept. I have the thought, okay? Now if I think about once or twice, it doesn't create much energy. But the more I think about a thought, or the more energy I put behind it, passion or drive or whatever, the stronger that thought becomes. Now, eventually I'm going to start realizing that thought can manifest. And what a lot of people haven't been able to master in this life, because they've been taught how to, is that the more they focus and understand that energy is consciously creating a reality, but that energy is also opening up to new realities, it's determined on how you focus that energy, that thought. So if they say to themselves, okay, I now want to tap into someone that's in Tasmania and do a conscious reading for them, psychically, I've stated my intention and I've locked into their energies. I don't need to know what this person looks like. I don't have to have them in the room. To contact these interdimensional beings, or for them to travel, it's the same thing. They put their mind to it. And we're talking, it's a concerted effort, like you build it up, and the higher your frequency, the stronger that energy is. So then they can direct themselves and says, okay, we're coming to Earth, we're going here, we're going to connect. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what Stephen's been saying about these beings is actually quite accurate from what my experience has been. We have had experiences where time and space has been just removed, and we have seen the future, we have seen the past, and we have seen these beings. But we do need more exploration, we do need more understanding, and for people to actually want to go out and learn. So what he's talking about in the next few years of what's coming to the earth, it's better to be prepared through wisdom and knowledge and understanding rather than to be reactive to outer events, which seems to be humanity's preferred theme through history. Does that make sense?
Yeah.